Welcome back to DIY and Depression. This is Life Under Quarantine, Episode 6. So where I live, we've been under a stay-at-home order for about 2 weeks. A lot of people I know have been working from home for longer, a month or even more in some cases. And what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from people are how folks who are used to socializing are really having a hard time right now. And I can sympathize with that. I have a hard time empathizing with that because I'm not a social person, and as the biggest introvert I know, this is not really a hardship for me. I'm pretty privileged in that way, and I'm thankful that this is not a burden on me. But I know that it is for a lot of people. And I wanted to take the time to talk to all of you who are having struggles with this and commiserate with you and tell you while I can't exactly understand how you're feeling, I hate that you feel bad. I know this is a rough time for you. So just keep in mind that this is not going to last forever, that this will be over. This time next year, who knows what things will look like, but we won't all be stuck in our houses for sure. And I'm sure by the end of this year, I'm hoping that at least people will be able to get together in a way that is more satisfying. Having said that, I'm seeing a lot of people who either don't quite understand how important it is that we all stay separate right now, or who don't want to understand, maybe, I don't know. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to try and provide some links below so that you can look up this information yourself. The biggest thing that everybody needs to know is stay at home means stay at home. It doesn't mean stay at home until you're not comfortable anymore. It doesn't mean stay at home except for this one thing that I really like to do, and I would hate to disappoint anyone. It means stay at home, and there are good reasons for that. Now, obviously, everybody has to eat. There are things that we have to do to go out, but the more that we can minimize our contact with other people, the safer we all are. It's striking me that a lot of people aren't understanding about COVID-19, this particular what they call novel coronavirus, is what it actually is and how it works. Now, I am not a virologist. I am not a scientist. The information that I'm getting is from other people, but I try to make sure that it's sources that are reputable and have a lot of confirmation. So viruses like this, according to the experts, normally don't even exist in humans. They're typically animal viruses, but a few, like this one, make the jump to humans through mutation. Now, this particular one, everyone keeps pointing out, is what they call especially virulent, which means it's easily contagious. It means our bodies haven't been exposed to it before, so we don't have any antibodies against it. So if we're put in contact with it, it's a high likelihood that we will contract the infection. If we contract the infection, then there's a very high likelihood that we will pass it on to the people we are around. Also, what they mean by virulent is that it is especially strong, very potentially deadly. Now, there's a lot of people who have recovered, who have contracted it. Currently, if I remember the numbers correctly, there are a lot more people who have gotten it and recovered than have died. That's good. But realize what a low bar that is. It's everybody that's gotten the disease that hasn't died. It doesn't mean that, oh, they had some sniffles and they got better. So according to the experts, what happens when you get this novel coronavirus, this COVID-19, for most people, generally speaking, once you've contracted it, it gets inside your cells and starts to work, but doesn't really show any symptoms for about 2 weeks. Depends on the person, but that's generally speaking. So once you contract COVID-19 from someone else, once it's passed along to you, most likely it will be 2 weeks before you or anyone else knows that you're sick. During that entire time, you are contagious. Now, once you start to show symptoms, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, it's a virus, it's like the flu. Like, well, for starters, the flu is no joke if you actually have real influenza. Anyone who's gone through a bad bout of it knows what that's like. We don't have a cure for the flu, and lots of people die from it every year. Plus, it's not really accurate. The easiest way to say it is, it's like the worst flu that you've ever had, only it goes on for about 2 weeks nonstop before you even start to get better. You're talking high fevers, over 102, body aches, all of the muscle aches, everything, the joint aches, all of that goes along with it. You're in your bed, deathly ill, sick. That's just the start. Because of how the virus operates when it takes over cells, it's a respiratory-oriented virus, which means it gets in your lungs. And that's where it likes to live. And what viruses do when they get into cells is they take over the machinery, they churn out more viruses, and then a lot of times they blow up the cell to get the viruses out so they can infect other cells. Well, every time one of those cells blows up, it dies. When those cells are in your lungs, when those are the cells that are responsible for converting oxygen into your bloodstream and sending carbon dioxide back out, when those cells die, you have a harder time breathing. When a bunch of those cells die, your lungs start to develop scar tissue, just as if you had a bad wound on your arm and your skin develops a scar. Same thing happens in your lungs. So this scar tissue builds up. You permanently lose lung function. Now, not everybody who gets this disease is going to have lung scarring and lose lung function, but it's a definite possibility. And given the fact that we don't have any tests right now that are widely available, given the fact that our hospitals are stretched so thin already, many places, including where I am at, are declining to test folks until they are deathly ill, until they can't breathe, which means they've already developed lung scarring and are losing lung function. So even if you get this, basically because it's so contagious and so dangerous, you're expected to stay at home until you can't breathe. Now, like we said, a lot of folks are recovering. That's great. I hope more people recover. I hope nobody else dies. Unfortunately, me wishing that isn't going to make it happen. And none of us wishing that is going to make it happen. So what we can do to protect ourselves, to protect the people that we care about, is to stay away from everybody. Don't get it to begin with. That's all I've got to say about it for right now. Just want everybody to understand how important it is that we do this now so that we don't have to do this again later, and that everyone we care about is still here later. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, hit subscribe down there if you haven't already, so I can do more of these. Wash your hands. Take care. Talk to you soon.